What's up, YouTube? This is Mathos97, and I've got a bit of a different video for you, the viewer, today, because today I am here to discuss the future of my UCW 2K15 series. Now, as you know, in the next-gen version of WWE 2K15, there is no story mode, no story designer, there is no create an arena, the creation suite itself was fairly limited. No created titles, nothing like that. So that's put me in a very interesting predicament here with this series, because I mean, I don't want to give you some kind of like half-done sort of product where it would just be created wrestlers in a WWE ring, since you can't create arenas, and plus I can't even do cutscenes, so it would be I'd be very limited with what I could do in the next-gen version of WWE 2K15 for this series. So I was kind of going to use this video as a bit of an update, and also just kind of get your sort of feedback on what you think I should do with this series. Because, I mean, at the moment, since I hooked up my PS4, I had to unplug my PlayStation 3, and it's just kind of sitting in the box right now. So, I mean, if you guys really wanted me to, if that'd be alright, I was also kind of considering maybe, I mean, basically there's three options. I could do UCW 2K15 on the next gen, or I guess current gen version of WWE 2K15 on the PlayStation 4, or I could just postpone the series until next year's game, when hopefully they bring back like story designer, that sort of thing, because this game was supposed to be like a building block, so they had to build everything from scratch. So hopefully next year they may or may not have those features in the game, which also makes it kind of it's a bit of an unknown. So if I would actually push it off till next year, I would probably go through with the mode, even if not all of the created modes get put back in the game. I'd probably find some way to do it, just because I really want to do this series, and if I had to push it off another year, I'd probably just go ahead and go through with it, and then figure things out as it goes from there. So there's that option. I could either just do it on this year's game, I could postpone it till next year, or I could go back to WWE 2K14 on the PlayStation 3, and I could use the creative wrestlers that I have on there, and I could see if I could get together all the created arenas and see how that goes. If I could continue basically what I was doing, because I have all the creative wrestlers for the most part. Okay, I don't have all of them. I have the majority of the creative wrestlers on the PlayStation 3 WWE 2K14. The only problem is, most of the people who created those wrestlers are probably going to have moved on to the next-gen consoles, so I don't know if I'd be able to get anything like new attires, or how creating new wrestlers exactly would work. I may be able to work that out, but I'm not 100% sure. It's just what happened when I'm really frustrated with how the future has played out for this series, with this year's game, like the limitations that this game had. I don't know, but yeah, the third option would be for me to go ahead and play through what I had planned for the next gen game. Just do that on WWE 2K14, where I have access to the story designer, I have access to created arenas, created content, and plus the superstars are already there. Not saying that I can necessarily upgrade like attires, updated tires and stuff like that, but yeah, those are the three options. I could either just play it out on this year's game and work with what I can, try to make something out of this year's game, use whatever tools that are at my disposal. Very limited options that I could do there. I could just postpone it for a future WWE game. Hopefully by that point the modes will be brought back into play. Or the third option, I can go ahead and just use my PlayStation 3, play out the storylines and whatnot on WWE 2K14 up until we see the release of WWE 2K16, which hopefully, crossing my fingers, hopefully is going to have some of those modes back in the game. Hopefully created arenas can make a return. We can bring back story designer or something similar to that. Man, hopefully that could work out for next year's game. But I mean, even if I would play through the stories that I have for UCW 2K15, even if I would continue this series on 2K14 or 2K15, whatever the case may be, 2K16 I would obviously continue from there, unless for some reason 2K16 does not have story designer, doesn't bring back the modes that I need for this series, in which case I may very well continue through with WWE 2K14, or I may just suspend the series until further notice. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do about that, because I don't know what the future is going to hold in WWE games, and therefore I can't really predict the UCW 2K15 series' future. But yeah, that's just kind of been an update. I've been thinking about what I should do about this series, and I haven't really come to a definitive conclusion. I know I said I'd be bringing it about in 2015, and I had really big plans for this series, but sadly things just kind of fell through with this year's game. So that's why I wanted to leave it up to you, the viewer, because ultimately you're the ones who's going to be watching my content. You're going to be the ones watching the series and giving me feedback on it. So ultimately the series is all about you, what you think I should do, because you know, if it weren't for you, the viewers, the subscribers, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't enjoy making content like I do today. So ultimately, I'm going to leave you guys a question down in the comments section. Leave your thoughts and opinions on what I should do about UCW 2K15. Should I just postpone it until next year's game and hope that the modes I need are going to be in that game? Should I just try to go through with it on the next gen WWE 2K15 on the PlayStation 4, or should I go back to WWE 2K14 on the PlayStation 3, where I have the cutscenes and whatnot, where I have all the created tools that I can use to plan out this series? But I feel kind of bad doing that, because last year with WWE 2K14, I was still playing out UCW storylines on WWE 13, and I feel kind of bad that last year I had to go back a generation to do that. Just because I had all the content there at the time. That was my decision that I had made. Some people were a little upset that I didn't move on to 2K14, but that's just how things worked out. Ultimately, like I said earlier, I want you to make the decision. What do you think I should do about this series? Leave any feedback, any suggestions, any helpful tips or hints. Yeah, so basically that's what this video is about. It was a lot longer than I probably expected it to be, but I tend to ramble and go long-winded on these sort of topics. So that's it for this video. I want to thank you all for watching. Please leave your suggestions, any thoughts and opinions on what I should do about this series in the comments below. And as always, keep on YouTubing.